what was your first television experience?
My first television experience is I watched my first television at the neighbor's house.
All right. And what was it like when television became available?
What's it like? It's great, but mostly we get scolded because we didn't get our chore done, or every time they call me, I'll be at the neighbor watching. So it has it's exciting, and that's why most of the time at the neighbor, but I have to go home because my mom will be calling, and I have to do my chores.
I'm asked. Were your neighbors? Do they have kids your age?
Yes,
Oh.
it's a lot of kids.
Oh. Were
And the neighborhood kids will come because they'll have it at their living room, and it's quite big, so it seems like everybody's welcome. You know, the kids, they'll call them in and we'll watch.
What did your neighbors' parents think?
Oh, nothing. They're very hospitable. They'll call us in, and sometimes with homemade baking, they'll serve that too. And that's one thing that we love is when they give out some donuts or homemade cookies.
What was it like when TV became available?
Well, we're so excited. It's just that it takes time for us to have our own until my sister start working, and that's when we can have our own. And everyone is happy. I mean, it's on the whole day until usually they turn it off at midnight.
What time did it start?
Usually start in the morning, maybe like 8 o'clock or 10 o'clock.
Alright, if you can remember, what year did you first get a television set?
What year is what?
What year did you get your first TV?
TV?
Yeah.
57. I think 1958.
Alright. Do you remember what year you first went to your neighbor's house to watch TV?
Let me see, I was still 56, I was still I think it's either 56 or 57.
Alright. Don't worry if you have to say the same stuff. I'm just going through the questions. It's okay. Where did you watch your first TV programs? Of course, your neighbor's house. And what was the viewing experience like? So, what was the viewing experience like? You know, being with the neighborhood kids and just coming to neighbor's house, watching TV.
And
Just like whatever you feel.
how is it like when we have our own?
Oh no, with the neighborhood kids.
Oh, it's exciting because there's a lot of us kids, and you know, we just like we're glued to the TV. No one is talking. Our eyes is all wide open, and we just look at each other when something exciting like that, and you know, and it's great because the neighbor kids get together and we play, and at the same times, you know, we socialize.
How much did your first TV cost? And what factors helped you get the money for the TV?
Well, the first TV I will say will cost around 500 some or 400 some, and then it's just that my sister graduated and was working already. You know, that's when we can afford our own.
how was the reception on your first TV?
Oh, the first reception we see was mostly snowy or some like it's like shaky, you know, like strings. But we still watch it because we can see little shape, you know, and it's just entices us to watch, even if it's not clear, and it's black and white. Yeah.
Uh, what was a typical family viewing session like? So like when you had your TV, like
Oh, usually after dinner. We'll watch it all the way up to 12 o'clock whenever they turn it off. We never sleep until the TV's off.
even your parents too?
Yeah, only my mom. No dad, just my mom and my sisters.
How did TV change your home life?
Oh, I think we're more aware of things, the style, you know, and even I would say our speech, you know, hearing the TV, it helps us speak better English. And we tend to,
How did TV change your life at home?
well, it's changed for the good, but sometimes, you know, like I said, our chores are sometimes behind, or we have to be told, to be reminded to do it because we're glued to the TV. Any program on TV that comes on, we watch it in the beginning.
Oh,
Even bowling or golf, you know. But now, you know, I'm not into sports, but at that time, we watch anything that's out.
what was the language spoken at home?
Oh, tomorrow.
And how did you said TV helped you speak better English?
Mhm.
How did this English skill affect the Chamorro language at home?
Well, my mother can understand English, you know, so it helps my two younger sisters too in that,
Oh.
on the TV, yeah. And just hearing it helps you to know how to pronounce the words and when to use it when you listen.
But the Chamorro language still stayed the dominant language?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I know this is the funny question. What do you remember about the corporate sponsors of TV shows?
They have so much commercial, but even the commercial, we enjoy it. Like we counted so many, you know, maybe 5, 6, 8 times commercial coming out and counting it.
Do you remember what the commercials were about? Like, what products were they advertising?
Cause if I could remember, maybe mostly like cars and soap.
And so?
Yeah.
What, if there's anything, what do you remember about the quiz show scandals?
Quiz show scandal. I didn't get that. This quiz show scandal. But I remember some of the movies that I like to watch is This Is Your Life.
'Cause I think this question might appeal to people in their 80s or 90s. The quiz show scandal thing.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Yeah, I think it's a question that happened earlier.
Yeah. That's why I said I don't remember any scandal on TV.
Yeah. Okay, so what do you remember about the first 30-second TV commercials?
Cause
Uh,
I really don't.
it doesn't have to be literally the first one. It could be whatever your mind can go back to when you feel it was your first one.
Commercial.
Yeah, the first commercial you feel.
I don't know whether that's the first commercial. The Roadrunner.
Roadrunner. Okay. Do you remember what it was about?
Roadrunner. Because I think it's about something fast. Battery or what? Roadrunner. Because I can't remember, but that is always coming out.
Hmm. Oh. Well, is there anything particular that caught your memory? I mean, caught your attention that made you kind of remember it a bit? Like, is there something specific about the commercial, the way it was advertised that makes you recall it? Like, for example, for me, there's some commercials I remember because maybe they were inappropriate, or maybe they advertised something like a car I wanted.
At that time, maybe it's the toothpaste.
Roadrunner was toothpaste?
Yeah,
Oh. There we go.
yeah, it's a nice commercial about making your teeth shiny and clean. But I think it's, if I remember, it's Pepsodent.
Hmm.
Because it's
Did
because it says there, I think if you brush your teeth with Pepsodent, it's. I just remember part of that song.
also there's a song too?
I think it's yes, something like a song like when you brush your teeth with Pepsodent. Yeah.
Did people, like your peers around you this time, how was their teeth? Like your friends, how did their teeth look like? Or how was your teeth? You could say that too.
Oh, it was okay. We have used toothpaste or so. Yeah.
Do you feel like this commercial for how Americans think your teeth should look like kind of that commercial impacted the way Chamorros thought, oh, the Americans' teeth are like this, so my teeth should look like this?
Yes.
Yeah.
It makes you want to brush your teeth and you want to get that brand.
Hmm. So, how do your television experiences back in the day, like 1950s, 1960s, how are they different? How are they the same with television now?
Oh, there's more varieties of movies and programs, and you have more channels, and the picture is clear, colorful, and then, with the modern technology, you don't have to get up and turn the channel. You just sit and just click it. That's the best part of it.
Is there anything different about the content between the two shows?
Yes, it's more now. It's varieties,
Because like I remember you were saying,
and the news are more coming out now. More news instead of just one or two.
because you were saying there was a lot of cowboy movies.
Yes.
Is that what you're saying? And how was the plot of the cowboy movies? Like so a lot of movies have a very similar style. Like, was an example a cowboy, his life, and then maybe there's a girl he likes, and then he saves the girl's life.
Mhm.
There's a lot of, like, for example, a lot of Disney movies are like that. someone in trouble, you save them.
Well, but at that time it's mostly cowboys and war pictures, but today you have detective, you have hospital, you know, they're different, and they're all something related either to law or romance. Like now you have all these, what do you call these, soap operas, you know? It's more now in movies, they're into different, you know, you even have, what do you call that, outer space things, and
Oh.
all the Roman style, you watch different kinds nowadays, and you use the robots, you know, like people like that.
Yeah.
Before you don't have that, you just have the style of cowboys and detective.
When in these cowboy movies and these war movies that were back then, do you feel there were aspects of romance?
Yes.
Love. Okay, there was still
Yeah.
there. All right. Um, if you had this item, how did you decide to get cable or satellite TV? And you got cable and satellite TV?
Now, but not before.
Oh no. Okay, so what made you want to get it?
What makes you? Because it's modern and you have a choice. Either you want the local station or you want the cable. You have more varieties if you have the cable. With the local, it's limited. With the cable, you have more channels.
Is there anything else you'd like to say about television or cable before we move on to movies?
Well, I enjoy the cable now, you know. Movies, it's so entertaining.
Well, okay, maybe when you think back about the experiences of TV and cable back then, are they happy memories?
Yes,
Yeah.
because of
Oh,
the modern technology and they improve from, you know, just snowy and, you know, sometimes the TV keeps on rolling and we have to get up and stop it. And, you know, the modern technology that you just do it with a click.
yeah,
For all this improvement, I think that it's much better now.
yeah.
It's enjoyable.
Oh. What were your first movie going experiences like?
It's walking down to see my first movie on a military, also outdoor movie. It's in the military compound or something, whatever that is. And, you know, the local are allowed to come and watch.
Is this at the military base?
It's not actually a base like today that you have to go in. This one is open. Yeah. So it's just like there's no gate, I mean no fence. It's just open, but you know it's military.
Do you remember about how many people were there? Just a random guess. You could say you could even say a lot, very little.
Not just family that goes, you know. It's just I don't think there's any limit because the other families can come. So we just walk in.
Yeah. But this was a very common thing.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah. What were some of your favorite films? What were some of your favorite movies growing up?
Favorite movies?
Yeah. So this is different from the television. Like. And it's okay if you don't remember either.
But there are old movies like Abbott and Costello, you know, the funny movies. Abbott and Costello. The
The-
cowboys, you know, Western movies mostly, and what else? Smart, Get Smart, what's that? And This Is Your Life, and what else do they have? Hit Parade. Although, no, that's the TV. Hit Parade. What did you say there?
I have Abbott and Costello.
Abbott and Costello.
Abbott and Costello.
Uh,
Cowboys, Western,
yeah.
and This Is Your Life.
No, that's Steve.
Oh.
This Is Your Life. That's Steve.
Do you know why they were your favorite films? Why you like them, compared to other movies there were? Why were these your favorite?
Because I was still young there, I don't watch romance. I don't know what's going on. That one we can understand when the soldiers come with the Indians, you know, it's exciting. But as far as like detective at that time, I don't remember watching any detective when I was young. Or romantic movies. I think I'm too young at that time. Until I'm already, television comes in, that's when I watch those.
I don't really know, but on Guam, which one came first? Was it TV or movies?
Movie.
Movie came first on Guam? Oh, okay. Alright. Alright.
I don't know, I could be wrong, but TV in the 50s. Movies, but we go to the military, and then Johnson Theater was there, Katy Theater. Yeah, and then in the 50s I was like in elementary when it came. These movies.
But it's okay, Grandma. It's not really a question here. Just
I don't
wondering.
know, because at that time I was young when my dad takes us down to watch a movie in the military, and then I was still very young, and then when we lived in the village, my next door neighbor had a TV, and that's when we go there and watch it.
Oh.
So when I was very young, we walked to see the movies. And then when it was just next door, I don't need my dad or what, just run over.
Well, why did you walk to the movies? There was no car back then.
Back then,
No car.
hardly.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Okay. Was it a long walk?
No, it's just maybe about 2 blocks,
Mm.
3 blocks down, that's it.
Okay. You might not know this one. Do you remember anything about Al Jolson?
No.
No. Okay. Do you know anything about the first talkies?
Talkies?
Yeah. TALKIES. Talkies. No. Yeah. What do you remember about the excitement surrounding Gone with the Wind? Do you know that movie? Gone with the Wind?
The surrounding.
Oh no, he just uses the word surrounding. It's like it's like, um, do you know the movie Gone Without a Wind?
I saw part of it.
Oh, um, well, like with your friends or with your parents or with other families, what was their thoughts about it? Were they excited to go see it? Once they saw it, did they think it was a really great movie? Because it turns out this movie Gone with the Wind was a very popular movie during that time.
Um, I think it was just now that they're showing that again.
Oh,
By my time when I was young, I didn't see that movie to form an opinion.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess if it, um, what movie do you remember was probably the most popular?
Um,
And this is a hopefully before hopefully before 1960. But if it's before 1970, that's okay too.
I think I remember is Our Very Own.
Our very own.
Yeah.
Our very own.
And because my sisters talk a lot about that movie, from here to eternity. I always heard my sister and my brother talk about that movie, but I know it's a love story, but
Hmm. Yeah. Was there what about those movies, if you can remember, made them so popular or special?
I don't know whether they're popular, but it's very touching because that movie is about a girl that was adopted to the family, and he found out later, much later, when she's already grown up, that she was adopted, and she was ready to go out and find her mother.
Hmm.
And when she found her mother, it was with a bunch of men drinking,
Oh.
and she doesn't like what she saw.
Hmm.
So she went back to her adopted parents, and the adopted parents love her so much.
Hmm.
And she changed her mind. She stayed with the adopted parents.
Is that Our Very Own or From Here to
Our
Eternity?
very own. From here to eternity is a romance thing that my sister, they discussed that a lot. That's why I remember the title, because when they talk about it, From Here to Eternity,
Hmm.
no,
Okay. Were there films? Were there films or movies that your parents didn't allow you to see?
no, because we don't go to movies that often. So only when, if my sister will take us, that's the only time we can go.
No. What movies were most influential to you?
Wow. That time I enjoyed the Western movie, the Cowboys and Indians.
Yeah.
I don't know, the cavalry always win.
Do you feel that had any changes in your character?
Does it have any changes in the character?
Your character. For example, like my sister, when she was younger, she would watch maybe a Disney movie about a Disney princess. Then after the movie, she'd be like, oh, I want to be like that princess. And, she starts acting like her, starts dressing like her. And, it builds towards who she becomes when she gets older. So did any of these movies contribute to the way you acted?
Well, I always like, because like only the good guys win. So from the cowboys and Indians to the military when they fight other countries, we watch the movies or TVs that the U.S. troop will always come out winners.
Hmm.
So it's like, to me it's like Law and Order. The good people always stands up
Yeah.
instead of making the bad guys win. It's always the law that comes in and
Yeah. But do you feel though, because like it was a war between the cowboys and Indians.
yeah.
How did the movie make the Indians look like the bad guys?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Alright. Do you remember when the first color movie came out?
Cause
No. Alright. Okay, do you remember when color movies became normal? Like what year, or maybe how old were you, or what was it like when color movies started becoming a lot more normal?
because in the late 50s,
Late 50s.
late 50s or early 60s, they're coming out.
Okay, late 50s. Late 50s or early 60s.
Yeah.
Today, do you still go to the movies?
Sometimes, I mean, occasionally. If they say it's a good one, we go and watch it. If nobody say anything.
Do you feel you went more to the movies when you were younger?
Just wait here. When I was younger, because I had to watch my sister
Mm.
with her boyfriend, so when they take me out, they drop me at the movies. Any kind of movies, they drop me and they go and they come back, pick me up, and we go home.
Oh, so
So it's like I watch more movies because my sister said, "You want to watch a movie?" I said, "Yes." So
But-
they took me, and this is my mom not to find out. Keep going in. So I see more movies when I was young than now.
Mm. That's funny.
I know. You see, it depends on the situation, because if I'm just gonna go on my own, I don't think so.
Yeah.
I'll be going a lot. Because my sister doesn't go out and they come to the house. And
Did-
for a couple of hours and then they leave.
Did you have a car?
Usually they have to go
Oh.
with a boyfriend. And so they're gonna take them out, I have to go with her.
How old was she? Do you remember?
Oh, she's already graduated in high school, 18, 19, 20, like that.
Oh, how old were you?
Wow, this is like 1955, 54, 55, 56 on those time because she's still in high school.
Mm.
So you see, 55 was just still 15 years old, I think.
Oh.
Yeah. And she graduated in 54.
Okay, so you know how you sometimes go to the movies now? What makes you want to go to the movies besides people saying it's good?
Well, maybe just for relaxation, to go out of the house, do something a little bit different.
Okay. Is going to the movies as useful or as important to you today as it was back then? Like,
Again,
so was is watching movies today more important than watching movies back then? Or was it more important back then to go to movies?
I think today.
More important. Oh, why do you feel that way?
Because when I was young, they cannot leave us alone in the house, so we all go.
Hmm.
You cannot be left behind, so we gotta go. And then my sister, she wants to go out. She, treat me something, so she can go out because I have to be the chaperone.
Yeah.
So if she offer me something and I like it, then I'll say I'll go with you.
Hmm.
So it's like, it's a bribe,
Yeah.
So that's how it is.
I see. Okay. Is there anything else you'd like to say about movies?
Yeah, the movies today are all kinds. You have it from other places. You can see Indian movies and, movies from England and other countries. You watch theirs and it's just awesome, that you can watch, and even if they have the, what do you call that, the dialogue on the bottom to understand it.
Oh, subtitles?
It's nice.
Alright, are newer technologies, are they adding to the quality of your life?
Yes, definitely.
Why do you feel that way? It could be very simple. Just, is there a reason why?
Yeah, it's easy, it's convenient, and everything. It's just with a flip or what.
What was it like when TV became available?
I was very skeptical about it and didn't know how to accept it, but was happy to view it whenever I could because we didn't have one immediately.
Where did you watch your first TV programs, and what was the viewing experience like?
My first TV program, of course, all the TV programs were in black and white. So they were on very small screens because that's what people could afford at that time. So you watched, and there were many people watching with you. And usually it became quite an event if there was some comedy or movie. Everybody was watching at the same time, and everybody was telling everybody else to be quiet.
Oh, so everybody would gather together.
Yes, because not everybody had TV sets at that time.
Oh,
Yes.
okay. How much did your family's first TV set cost, and what factors figured into its purchase?
In fact, I left Malaysia before I bought a TV. So it was, the TV sets were few and far between in Malaysia. And I bought my first TV set in '74 when I went to Australia.
How about when you were a child? Did your family have
No. There was no such thing as TV. The big thing was a radio in the house. Yes, there was no such thing as TV. TV was not even thought of at that time. So we all listened to the radio and we followed things on serials and things like that. Everything was on radio.
Okay.
Yeah,
So you bought your first TV in the 70s?
in the 70s in Australia, a small screen, black and white, and we watched. Really, we were very interested in getting news that was current, and that was the first thing that really interested us, and me particularly. my children were waiting for some comedies and shows and things like that. But I was very interested in very current news.
Okay. What was the reception like?
Never really sharp.
Mm-hmm.
It was quite blurry, you know.
Was it like snowy?
Yeah, but you thought that was the best you had, and so there was nothing to compare it with.
Right.
So when you don't have anything to compare, that is your best.
Yeah.
See, and so we, you know, I was school teacher, so I left very early in the morning. I left home by 7:30 and got home at 4:30. And so TV wasn't something we were attached to, but we would watch it now and then, maybe in the evening for a little while.
Oh, that was the next question. What was a typical family viewing session like?
Yeah, I was with my 2 kids at that time in Australia, and I was interested in the news, but they were not so interested in the news. But when it came, they would have a program, and they would watch it. Sometimes I would watch it with them, but it was really a lot of the older movies that were reshown.
Okay. How did TV change your home life?
Well, it brought an entertainment into our home, that was not there at that time, and it, because it was not an easy thing to view, I'm trying to think back. It didn't drastically change it because the hours were restricted, and it was in black and white, most TVs. So we were busy with doing other things as well. And you know, when you come back in the evening at 4 o'clock and there's a meal to cook and everything, homework to be done, and you know, preparations and things like that. So there's very little time for TV. It didn't change up. Maybe in the weekends, maybe the children watched a little bit more. But I wasn't interested in many ways, and was not hooked onto TV, because movies still dominated life at that time. People went to movies because they had a greater variety, a better show, and more current, and you know.
That's the next
Yes,
section.
yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So, what do you remember about the corporate sponsors of TV shows?
I had no idea. I had no idea, because ours were all canned. It came from the States. It came from England, so we were not producing any kind of shows. You know, this is Australia. It's only later that Australia started producing shows of their own. And I had no idea at that time, and it was not important. It wasn't something that was taking anybody's life or dominating anybody's life. It had just come in. It was an interest, and people watched it or didn't watch it. And I remember wanting to watch, this was of course much later, a particular program, and I went to my neighbor's home, as she had a larger screen, because our screen was much smaller.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What, if anything, do you remember about the quiz show scandals?
No, didn't affect us at all. Not in Australia, but they could have taken place, but it didn't affect my family or me at all.
Okay. What do you remember about the first 30-second TV commercials?
They were pretty cute. We thought when they were advertising soap or they were advertising oils or whatever they were advertising, it was so homegrown, and it was pretty cute. And people, I think, were caught into looking at advertisements for the first time visually, because we usually saw them in newspapers and things like that, but we didn't see them visually. So it was cute and it was entertaining more than anything else.
Okay.
It never bothered us so much.
Did it influence you, like make you go out and buy it?
No, not at all. But it really, if they talked about a particular shampoo or a soap or whatever it is that made hair much better, I think it had an influence on people because nobody talked about these things before. So when you have somebody emphasizing these things, then you think, oh, that might be better for me. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
How do your television experiences in the 1950s compare with your television experiences now?
Of course, there were no television experiences in the 1950s for me. It only started in basically the 70s when TV came in, and I just said that.
Okay.
It's only when I moved to Australia that we
Bought a
got
TV.
a TV and things. So, what was the question? How does that influence?
How does your experience, television experiences in the 1950s compare with your television experience now?
Now,
So maybe in the 70s.
in the
that's-
70s, I can
Okay.
compare that to 70s. I'm still not a big television fan. Some of the programs really now, particularly as in the past decade or so, I have been more upset in some with some television shows because of I could see bias in it, and I also must say that I learned a lot of history as I came to live in the United States now. Learning the history of what took place before and the evolving of the formation of independent states, and historically it's very interesting for me. I learn a lot from it. I learned also a lot about the United States, the Ken Burns productions of shows.
So what you're saying that in the 70s, your first experience was more entertaining,
More entertaining.
and
Yes,
then
it
now
was,
it's more
yes,
educational.
more educational for me, because I select programs that I want to watch. I don't watch any and every program. I select the news programs like PBS News. That's my basic news, because the others are very limited to a specific area and specific interest. But I like to watch mostly something that's more international, has an international flavor.
Mm.
Yes.
How did you decide to get cable or satellite TV, if you have it?
I don't particularly have it right now. I don't have cable TV.
Oh, okay.
I don't have cable TV.
Okay, it's just as if you have it, so like we should have it. So what were your first movie going experience like, and how are they different from today?
W- very, very often I went with my dad to the movies, and he was a regular movie goer. he would see at least one movie per week.
Wow, that's often.
But very often too, Saturday and Sunday. So I had a choice to go with him or not to go with him. So, and he never restricted my going to any of the movies.
Oh, okay.
Yes, he would take me, and then my brother would come sometimes, and sometimes three of us will go. My mom was never interested in movies.
So it was families,
Yes.
not with friends.
I can't remember friends. We would meet friends at the movie theater.
Oh, okay.
And so maybe we'll have a cup of tea together after the movie. But my father's this was his relaxation, watching the movies.
Were they in black and white as well?
Mostly
Or
black.
also black and white?
Mostly black and white. At that time, there was hardly any color. I'm talking about the early times when I was in school. I mean, to think that I left for college in 1955.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
Okay.
Were there commercials during the
Um,
movies? Were there commercials like they do now, right?
I can't remember. I really can't remember. I don't think so, because the movies came as movies and they just played them there. And they were all canned movies that came from Britain and United States.
Okay.
And my favorite movies were British movies,
Okay.
because the dialogue was always the most interesting. And of course, being colonized by the British, it was something that we understood better. The humor, the subtleties of movies and of dialogue was very enjoyable, both to my dad and to me particularly.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
So what would you say the difference is from today?
Oh, vast difference. Movies were never very extravagant. They were done in very small places, but very cleverly done. The props were really used in the most thoughtful way, so that even in a very small enclosure, they could make a wonderful story, or tell a wonderful story, or depict something about the life and adventures of people within very short scenery, instead of long extravagant scenery, very, very succinct, but very cleverly done. Very, very cleverly. I always think of this now. We have improved a lot in scenery and beauty of that captures, and because we also have the color. When you have black and white, it didn't matter so much whether you had blossoming flowers or so it was black and white. You had
Were there sounds, audio? Do they have audio?
yeah, by the time I went in the beginning, there was a lot of it was silent movies mostly, and so you got to understand your movies through actions and through gestures, and a lot of them were comic movies and it made people laugh, and the Laurel and Hardy stuff, and
Oh.
Yeah, 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 yes. And very, very clever, very, very clever. And people wanted to relax. People had just come out of war and, turmoil. So this was a relaxation more than anything else. Not going into anything heavy, but a relaxation, a real relaxation. So I don't remember advertising there. It was the movie started and the movie ended. You knew when it would start when it would end.
Okay.
Yes.
What were some of your favorite films growing up, and why?
Oh. I think I was very interested in biographies of lives of people and growth patterns of young children within families. I was more a factual thing rather than
Fantasy.
yeah. It's if anything is kind of artificial, it didn't excite me. But if it was real, this was tracing the lives of people and their escapes from one place to another, which were real. I would always ask my father, is this real or not real? Because if it's not real, I was not interested in it, because I had a life that I went through a war, so everything mattered when how people lived and how people adapted, things like that. I think that had a big influence on my choices. Yeah.
Do you remember anything about Al Jolson and the first talkies?
No, because it's not something that came into our lives at that time. No.
What do you remember about the excitement surrounding Gone with the Wind? Or any movie they considered important during their youth?
Gone with the Wind was very, very popular. Talked on for a long time, shown for a long time. People saw it and went and saw it again, and I remember doing that and even encouraging my mother to go.
What was it about? Not what was it about. What was the excitement about? Was it because it was colored, or was it one of the first movies that were colored, or?
I think it was in color.
I think so.
I think so. Some places could take color and some places could not. So they didn't have the adaptations for color and things like that. But I remember seeing it in color, and it was a very big hit. Just about everybody saw it.
But what made it big? Why were people excited about it?
Because it was an intriguing story, and it had very beautiful characters, and
it was a love story?
yeah, yes, exactly. And love stories were, they are the panacea of any kind of suffering, or that's why movies in India make a lot of money, because if life is difficult, anything that is a release, to see beauty and to see love in its different forms, always is attracted to the human spirit, I think. Yes, to see some betterment, something more imaginative, and because the human being always wants to imagine things, and so these things have their appeal.
Okay. What were the films? Were there films your parents forbade you to see?
No, that was one thing my dad never said, no, you can't see this movie. If he was going to a movie, I would go with him, okay? And he never vetted any movies for me. And I remember, because I went to a convent, and suddenly the newsletter came out with movies one can see and movies one cannot see, and movies that were condemned. And it came out during, while I was a teenager. And I went against that, and I said, if my dad doesn't forbid me to go this, how dare people tell me, anybody else tell me what I should see and what I shouldn't. I was a bit of a rebel, of course. Yes, and so, but it was the wrong thing to do. It was really the wrong thing to do, because it made more teenagers defiant and want to see it. And there was nothing in these movies, really, when I thought of it. There was just nothing, but it was this closed vision of what would influence young people that got them to have movies that were condemned. And kind of, Rasputin was one of them. You wouldn't even remember that now, but oh, don't ever see that, you know, things like that. And everybody went to see it because it was, that's the wrong thing to do.
What films were the most influential for you?
Really, basically, mostly, I loved musicals. I loved comedy. I also liked good spy movies. Yeah,
Bond, James
but
Bond.
but not with so much action, but with words. I liked good dialogue, and clever dialogue between people was something because you see, we came from a radio consuming population into TV, so you listen. Your listening was very good. So when dialogue became brash, as most of it is now, loud and without any kind of meaning and hurtful, I don't enjoy most of the comedies now. I just don't. Because it's not clever, it's not thought of, it's just...
It's more like insulting and putting people down. Yeah.
Exactly. I like anything that was very thoughtful and very clever. And I found British movies very, very good in that. Excellent. Of course, I was biased, brought up in British rule.
Do you remember when color became standard with movies? What was that like?
You know, it was a transition with us. They would announce, when they were announcing the movie, they would say black and white or color. So people chose to go to color, but I chose to go to the movie that I wanted to see. Color became secondary. It was wonderful if it was in color. But otherwise, for the content of anything, if I liked something, if it was black and white, it didn't make a big difference, for me particularly. I think it was for my dad too.
For my mom too. She still likes to watch black and white.
Yes, I do too.
Yeah,
I do
it's
too.
the movie, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
It's like watching something real.
Yeah. Do you still go to the movies? And why?
If it's a good movie and I've read about it and I've thought about it and it is an intriguing life pattern or a scenario or a new kind of invention of any sequence or consequence, that's what I should say. I want to see it on a white screen. I don't enjoy seeing it on a TV screen. So that's when I would go to the movies. But I don't like loud loud, vulgar, shouting, screaming movies. I dislike people shouting at each other. I dislike loud voices screaming, and people have really a lot of the time. I want civil speaking to each other. That when they're shouting, I turn off. I really turn off. So again, it goes from what I'm used to, coming from where I was, listening to content of things rather than screaming at people. Even that's why the comedy now doesn't appeal to me at all. Most of it is so either so low grade. It is not clever. It is very no.
Yeah. Is going to the movies as useful, important to you today as it was back in the 1950s or 60s?
No, it's not, because there's so many other ways. You can get it on your own screen. It's available, and you can see different areas of interest on your iPad, on your TV screen, on YouTube, because it's made movie going much very little in my life. I only choose to go to certain movies. I don't go to most, and I try to avoid any kind of advertising before the movie, because it always is so loud and overbearing, and it's so unnecessary, and I don't want to introduce that into my life. Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you.